Streaming.
We're streaming.
We're streaming. It's
Here we are playing Silent Hill.
31-ish. Oh, burping a little bit. It's 31-ish streams of horror. 31-ish streams/night/days of horror. I'm Eric Allen. I'm hanging out with my friend Mike Els.
You sure are.
I'm going to see you in a couple weeks, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, 2 weeks from now, when we're going to be doing our live Extra Life stream in Washington, D.C.
So
I'm excited.
I'm going to play a little bit of Silent Hill 4: The Room, which is a game that I've been kind of wanting to check out throughout most of this month. This is probably the worst of the first 4 Silent Hill games, but it also is probably the second most interesting one.
Silent Hill 3 is just kind of a straightforward Silent Hill, and then
Silent Hill 3 is a direct sequel to Silent Hill 1. Silent Hill 2
it's a direct sequel.
Yeah, the character in Silent Hill 3, the main character, is the girl that you find at the end of Silent Hill 1. So you play as her. She's like 15 or 16 or something like that, and then it's like a continuation.
Is that Cheryl, or am I getting my horror series mixed up?
In 3, but yes, her name was Cheryl, but she's like replaced. One of the endings in Silent Hill 1, like Cheryl never comes back, but you find another baby.
There's a lot of endings in Silent Hill 1.
Yeah, so the canonical ending is the one where Harry finds the baby and then he raises her, and her name is Heather, and so she's like of age to become the weird god in Silent Hill at the end of 3.
I forgot about that whole like weird like women becoming gods for the cult thing.
Right. I don't.
Admittedly, the story is not really the part. You come for the experience more than anything.
Yeah. So 2 is obviously, in my opinion, the best and also the most interesting game in the series, because it sort of, like, it's the one where that is the one that takes the direction that I wish all the rest of the games in the series had taken, where it's just like Silent Hill is just this weird place that brings out certain things that are buried in your psyche, and then the games could kind of, use that as a springboard to do weird things about, like, obviously 2 is about like survivor guilt, and like this game is like halfway between that, but you also end up in Silent Hill and you end up interacting with the cult also.
Yeah.
Which is like a huge disappointment, because this game takes place in a city that's like outside of Silent Hill, and it could be more about like depression and isolation. And that would have been a really interesting track for this game to take. But like I said, by the end of the game, you're just like knee deep in the cult stuff.
And
it's a real
not where you want to be.
No, you want this. This game would have been a lot better if it had been about something. It also has some weird ties to, like, in the first game, you find those newspapers that talk about a serial killer. Maybe it's the second game. But this game has some weird ties to those newspapers and that serial killer too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember. It's been too long since I played Silent Hill 1. I don't know whether that stuff...
Yeah, I can't remember if that was 2 or 1. But so obviously I'm in weird Silent Hill world right now. So the basic setup for this is that I'm playing as this guy named Harry Townsend. Harry Townsend? No. It's something Townsend. And he's been trapped in his apartment for several days. There's these weird chains that cover the door, and you can't get out. And the phone has been disconnected, but you get some, like, the cord is
creepy
actually
calls.
cut, but you get some weird calls. And you sort of find these holes in the wall that lead you into different parts of the city.
Right. Little portals and things.
Yeah. And that's kind of how you transition from area to area. So aside from the sort of disappointing end to the story in this game, the other 2 big problems is that the camera really sucks. Like, for some reason, they couldn't figure out how to either do the, like, spooky camera angles from the first game or do, like, a really decent behind-the-back perspective like the second one. Like, the camera is detached from your character and overhead, and I found myself struggling with it constantly. And on top of that, there's these ghosts that you run into that sound like a vacuum cleaner. And
I've heard about these guys.
Yeah, they're super... It's just... they would be intimidating because there's no way to defeat them, but the noise is so obnoxious that that's the reason you want to get away from them, and it eventually becomes so overwhelmingly annoying that was the reason I never finished this game, just because I didn't want to have to run through these areas and listen to the fucking vacuum cleaner ghosts anymore. But it's a real shame because, like I said, the setup for this game is really interesting. Like
the concept is super cool.
This guy that, and it's he's like locked in his own apartment, and
it feels very ahead of its time. Like a lot of, I think, modern horror indie games would try to explore like that closed space. Which
it actually, when I saw PT for the first time, it reminded me a lot of this game, because there's a lot of stuff in this game where like things in the apartment like change positions, or the like
and it's
like,
like,
there's
what?
the space that should be
is that
safe
different?
and it's not, and sort of exploring the reason why it's like that.
I agree. That sounds really cool. I guess the game is, in actuality,
it just sort of, it's not the game that I wanted it to be, and that's kind of what happens throughout pretty much the rest of the series, aside from Shattered Memories, which actually, like the action sequences in that game get pretty old by the end, but the story is really good. Like that's also kind of a weird retelling of the very first Silent Hill, but it recontextualizes everything in a way that sort of aligns it with what Silent Hill 2 was about, if that makes any sense.
It's kind of splits the difference between the first game and the second.
Right. Instead of being about a creepy cult, it's actually about, the effect that the idea of Silent Hill is this like thing that draws out a part of your psyche. And in that game, it's kind of about like the relationship between the daughter and the father, and also there's some other stuff about like sexual abuse, and like that game goes some really ugly places that is totally appropriate for a horror game. That's really fantastic.
Hello?
Help me.
Obi-Wan?
Creepy disconnected phone.
I feel like I might be just about ready for another horror game soon.
Yeah?
And well, anyone who watched our stream from 2 years ago will know that I was not in the horror mood at that point in time. I had to be coerced into playing some Amnesia. But I don't know. There's a lot of interesting horror experiences out there right now, and I could probably, I don't know, I feel like I may be interested in getting into one. I've read good things about Doki Doki Literature.
I don't know what that is.
It's a free graphic novel style, like novel. What's the interactive
visual novel?
Dating sim. Visual novel, that's what I mean. Apparently it gets really fucked up. The only thing is it's a little longer than I want to commit to. It's like more like 5 hours, and I was hoping for like a 2 hour kind of game.
Have you played Anatomy?
I haven't. Yeah, that's another
$3, 45 minutes, Mike. You should check that out. It's really awesome. I don't know that it's more clever than it is scary, although it can be pretty intense in a few places, but it's got some really cool stuff in it.
Something I would appreciate, actually. I think
I also really like this part of this game, so you can, like, even though you're trapped in your apartment, you can actually look out the windows to the streets below. And
is there anything happening out there?
Yeah, occasionally. I want to say that, so you can also look into the apartments across the way, and like you're sort of incentivized to be constantly checking these, because eventually some pretty fucked up shit happens in the apartments across the way.
Oh, nice.
So it's some real like rear window stuff.
Mm-hmm. That is definitely the reference point for this kind of stuff.
Yeah, which is another really cool thing. Yeah, this game it has a lot of really cool stuff in it, but also these first person, you explore the apartment in first person and the controls are kind of garbage. Fortunately, you don't have to do anything, but it's still really not good. There's the bathroom, which is a lot like the PT bathroom.
In PT? Watched a lot of streams. Have you played PT or just
No,
watched a
I
lot
don't
of
have a
streams of it?
PlayStation 4, so but yes,
Yeah, I was
I've
wondering
seen
if-
it. I watched Patrick Klepek play it to completion when it came out, and then Giant Bomb East recently did a thing with Abby and Vinny.
Yeah,
where they
yeah, I
played through
saw
the whole
bits of
thing.
that. But on the
And
have
I
a
watched.
copy of that, or did he?
What's that?
Did he get? Does Joe have a copy of
Yeah,
PT, or
Joe
did he
has
get
that.
his PlayStation too late?
No, he has that on his PlayStation, I
Right.
think. But like at this point, I don't need to play it because I've seen it. I also watched Dave Lang play it as well during a Giant Bomb Extra Life like bonus thing a couple of years ago. So I've seen it quite a bit, but it's really clever. It sort of takes some of the more
Yeah.
interesting parts of this game and sort of blows it out into a full 2-hour thing.
And 2 hours is maybe not too long for this kind of thing.
Yeah. The biggest problem is that, yeah, see, it says don't go out, and it's signed Walter, and Walter, I think, was the name of the serial killer in the newspapers, and
What's going on here?
the second... I can't remember if it's the first game or the second game.
I do not remember either.
Maybe it might be the
I've
second
al-
game if you don't remember it. Because it was
Well,
one of those
yeah, it might
creepier
be.
things. I also really like this. You peek out the window, and there's all these hands prints on the wall,
Ooh,
which I think are all the... I think it's the same... The handprints are the same number of people that Walter has killed.
okay.
Which, when I first made those connections, that was pretty creepy, but I don't remember exactly how it ties back into this story, other than just the fact that he, like, lived in this house. I think that might be the connection to Silent Hill, was that he lived in these apartment buildings.
Can't believe your real estate agent didn't tell you about this when you rented the place.
These are the tools and things on the ground. It's a washing machine. I don't need that right now.
I don't know. I've been trapped inside that apartment for a couple of days. You'd probably go for a change of underwear, if nothing else.
He doesn't have much in his fridge either. It's kind of hard to tell how he would have managed to live this long.
Well, maybe he had a bunch of stuff in his fridge.
That's true. The chocolate milk. I think that's like a healing item. White wine.
Chocolate
Coca-Cola
milk?
wine. Yep, that's all
That's
that's
pretty
left in
awesome.
your fridge is chocolate milk and white wine. I think the wine bottle's a weapon, though. Also, these like mid PlayStation 2 era textures are quite a thing to look at.
They did what they could.
Yeah.
I was surprised that Dead Island held up as well as it did when we were playing that. I mean, the faces weren't great, but the world was relatively okay.
Yeah, Kurt and I had a lot of fun playing that co-op, actually.
Well, then it's really...
I'm sad that your version was incompatible with ours, because it would have been even more fun with 3 people.
Yeah.
It's basically like a mini like Fallout or Skyrim world. Where
Okay.
you beat up zombies, but it's like the quest system and your ability to just kind of go anywhere and do anything is just like playing a Fallout or a Skyrim game. It was really pretty cool, and it got pretty chaotic once we got our hands on a couple of trucks.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How long did you play it for?
I think we ended up playing almost 2 hours.
Oh. Yeah, well, that was the break.
Ever since I started having those nightmares. Alright, so I think... Did I look at everything in here? I have to look at this note. What's this? Mom, why doesn't you wake up? Put the first letter in your scrapbook. I think that is a reference to the stuff that happens in Silent Hill.
I really do not recall there.
Main power is off, so even if I press it, nothing happens.
I have some vague remembrance of them getting some kind of teenage girl pregnant to like their god or something.
Yeah. Alyssa, I think, was the girl, right? In Silent Hill.
Very possible.
And then Cheryl is like a psychic projection, or I don't know. The fucking main plot in that game is such nonsense.
The important thing is that there's a creepy school.
Yes, and a creepy hospital.
Yeah, I think the school creeped me out more, but
yeah,
neither one of them was like a fun place to hang out or anything.
No. Well, Joe and I played through like the first hour or so of that recently, and it's still pretty creepy, actually. The giggling child zombies with the knives is still like a pretty... Like, that's a place that even a lot of modern games wouldn't go.
Mm-hmm. Murdering kids with knives.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. This is the save point. I think the hole should be opening here. I think I must be missing something that I'm supposed to be looking at.
Original Silent Hill was effective when I played it recently. You know, it's really low res, but in some ways I find that actually improves it. I don't know.
This chest could hold a lot of stuff. And it's also... Oh, there we go. To look at the chest. And there's a loud noise. It was also really interesting to play that, having just played Resident Evil very recently as well, because...
Which Resident Evil?
OG, like Resident Evil.
Oh, okay.
But playing Silent Hill, like that game is way scarier than Resident Evil, but it definitely does not rely on the survival aspect of survival horror to be that scary, because you just get a ton of ammo and a ton of health items, and the enemies aren't that difficult to defeat. Like, your combat ability is never the reason why that game is scary.
My memory of Silent Hill 1 is that it kind of survival horror-y. Emergency axe. You can use that to kill every enemy and never run out of ammo because it's a melee weapon.
Mm-hmm. I just had a shitload of handgun ammo too. All right, let's go in the hole. I mean, there's no other way to get.
But yeah, it's not like Resident Evil, where the first time you play the old one, it's possible that you'll just get ground down so far that you have to restart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you just run out of herbs and ammo, and there's just nothing you can do. Yeah,
that happened to me, I think, because there's a really through, and I was just like, nope, can't do this. So I had to start over again. Which, of course, I did, because, you know, back then, way more time than money.
Yeah. Here we go. I believe this is where I run into the first character that's part of the city, and also part of whatever weird dream is going on.
Not to get too off topic, but the energy weapons in Destiny times food.
They're what?
They seem to be sometimes food. In the sense that,
yeah,
like, I'm using my regular gun like
you really only
90%
need
of the
one just to break the shields.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of the same thing goes for the fire weapons. Like, you need a fire weapon and a void weapon, I believe, is the purple one, so that way you can break the various shields. But your normal kinetic gun is your, like, main damage
bread and butter
most of the time. Yeah. Ride this weird escalator down. I don't know, Henry. It's a pretty weird place to be. Also, I did not like this character when I first started this game, but... He's got like a swoopy hair thing, and...
Is that
his animation, his walk animation is super weird, which is also the case in Silent Hill 2, I think, but... Like, your character has, your torso is kind of too small, and your arms and your legs are too big, so you look kind of like a daddy long legs.
I mean, that's creepy, right? You know, this is a horror game.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you're not a daddy normal-sized legs.
How do I equip my... handheld. And also, this game had like a more... I forgot about this. I remember this camera being a pain in the ass, but I forgot that... So, like, you go into combat mode like most survival horror games, but then you can hold the attack button to, like, charge up. So, like, you can do, like, a bunch of small attacks, or you can, like, charge up and do a power attack.
Do like a Dragon Ball yell while you're doing that, or?
He goes, rah! Which is just not...
So, yes, but not like a very good one.
Or the less combat is better for these games, always.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what they figured out with the number in the Amnesia series, right?
Yeah.
Is that,
and Shattered Memories as well.
Who are you?
yeah. The scary is the able to fight.
What's your
Right.
name?
Or if
I always-
the horror elements are right, or if they're working properly, then it doesn't matter if you can fight or not. It's still scary.
This is my dream, and you don't even know my name. It's Cynthia.
Hi, Cynthia.
Your dream.
You have weird teeth.
That's right.
Intentionally weird, or it's kind of
Silent-
like weird
Silent Hill
PlayStation
weird.
2?
Yeah, weird PlayStation 2 teeth. Her lip syncing is actually pretty good, though.
So you think this is a dream?
That kind of started to become a thing in the PlayStation 2 era, like
Yeah.
in not the majority of games, but there were some where they actually started to get kind of good about
Get
that.
out of here, but I can't find the exit.
I remember some people getting really excited because there was
Say,
a cutscene in one of them where they actually changed the lip syncing from the Japanese to the English version,
I'm kinda scared
and so like they
though.
did a YouTube video
I'll do a
before and after.
for you later. It's just a dream, so I might as well have some fun.
This does not seem like a good place for sexy times, but I guess if it's a dream, then we might as well get it on.
Hey, there's somebody who's into everything.
Right. I mean, there is kind of like a weird psychosexual element to Silent
always.
Hill 2 as well. I guess there was Sybil in the first Silent Hill 2, right? There's sexy cop pants.
Sexy cop pants.
Yeah, didn't she have like super tight leather pants in that cutscene? I think I commented on that when we.
Could very well be correct. I don't remember.
It might actually depend on. No, that's Silent Hill Shattered Memories, where her outfit changes depending on what answers you
I
give.
hear-
There's like a bunch of like sessions you do with a psychologist.
Questions at the start of the game?
With a
Right.
psychiatrical.
A psychologist.
Yeah. Nope, she's feeling sick.
I think I'm gonna puke.
It's a bad dream when you're in a weird place filled with steam pipes and escalators, and then you have to puke.
I'm not into it.
Henry doesn't know what's wrong. But actually, the faces in this game look really fucking good for a game that came out like 2004, I think.
How does it compare to my old barometer for that used to be Metal Gear Solid 2, which lasted for a while, but at this point, that game looks horrible. So I don't know.
I think that so there's a little bit more detail. Like Henry has like stubble on his face that actually looks pretty good. I would say that there are games that have come out in the last 5 years that don't have faces that look as good as this game's faces look.
Wow.
It's the running animation and the bodies that looks a little fucked up. Yeah, 2004 this game came out. Also, I think the enemy design in this game is kind of bad too. Like these weird stone moss dogs, the straw tongues.
Straw tongues.
Yeah, they're eating their buddy. They also aren't doing anything. They're just standing here letting me hit them.
But like in a scary way.
Not really. They're definitely less scary than the dogs in previous Silent Hill games. They sound like a jaguar when you kick them to death.
Wow.
Yep, that's exactly what they sound like.
Oh, I know from Jaguars. Wow.
Man, I'm getting my ass kicked. Can I drink my chocolate milk? I can't use this here. I thought I could. Uh-oh. Hope I don't die. Let's go check the ladies' room since
It would be pretty scary if you did.
What's in here? Nothing. There's a hole here. I don't think
There's a hole here, or there was a hole here?
Nope, there is. Where could this crazy hole lead to? Let's enter the hole. I think if I go farther into the dungeon now, I don't think I actually can do anything. I also think I'll probably end up getting killed by more dogs. And where does this lead me? I think I wake up back in my bed. Yep.
Hey, I made a level. In Silent Hill, I mean.
What?
What?
Another dream.
Another dream.
But it seems so real. Or could it be? Was I really inside that woman's dream?
Or were you both in the weird dream of some ancient elder god that lives underneath a small resort town in Maine?
Is that their assertion, or is that your
I think that's
editorializing?
generally what is thought of as the reason all the weird shit happens in Silent Hill.
It's because they live in Innsmouth? Or
Kind of. Let's look out the window. Whoops, I don't want to use that milk. I want to just look out the window. Because that's the woman that you meet in the tunnel is the same woman that you see go down into the subway earlier in the game. So it's like you're not really sure if you're having a dream about her or if you really met her down there.
Oh, it was one of those dreams.
Mm-hmm. What's going on out here? Nothing. Oh. Huh? That's weird. Somebody moved it. Straighten it. We can straighten it. And what happens when we straighten it? We find a gun and a peephole into the apartment next door.
Oh, nice. You need to see something creepy?
If you think I think it's just the girl that we saw earlier, but I'm not 100% sure. Outside the peephole through the front door.
That doesn't sound very creepy.
Well, I mean, it sounds creeper-ish, I guess.
Yes. I guess it's creepy for her. Maybe this playing with perspective in these games. That would be a really interesting horror game where you just do a bunch of creepy stuff and eventually realize that you're a terrible person.
That bunny's creepy because it's the mascot from the evil amusement park from Silent Hill 3, which is a pretty creepy place to be.
Is that a recurring enemy in that game, that bunny? Are there multiple bunnies, or is it...
I don't know if it's even an enemy. It's just like a...
Is it like a nemesis thing where there's one and he follows you around?
No, there's no... It's just the bunny is just like a thing that shows up. I don't think you actually fight the bunnies in Silent Hill 3. Oh, now the phone's ringing. Phone's ringing, dude.
Where did you go?
Oh,
Hurry! Save me!
It's Cynthia. She wants me to save her.
There's one here.
Savor a slice of that pie.
That was
Imagine
weird.
how creepy. All. You'd probably have a stomach ache.
That's right. You eventually find numbers you can dial too.
Oh, nice.
No answer, just like I thought.
Does Jenny ever pick up?
I don't know. I could try that. 8. What is it?
I think it's 8675309.
867 5309. No answer, just like I thought.
Just punching everyone. It's the best.
Did you get the second subclass for your?
No, I'm only level
thing?
7.
Okay. You got to do
You have to get to
public
level 10?
events. That's how you get the subclasses. I have no idea. I don't know if there's a level. I think it's just like a drop that comes from doing the public events.
Oh, you have to pick it up from the events?
Yeah, you get it from the chests and the events. It's just like a thing that drops, and then you get
Weird.
to you go do like a
Well,
solo mission. Whoop!
There
what
is a
happened?
public event incoming over there.
That's weird. It's some kind of mannequin. It's got a coin in its hand. Take the coin. Yes, I got the Lynch Street line coin. Can be used any number of times. It's a mannequin.
How do you use a coin multiple times?
That's like a bunch
Yeah.
of coins, I think.
Oh. If you toss them, do the monsters go to investigate?
And then you can sneak up behind them and break their necks.
Are there any fire extinguishers in this game?
No, unfortunately. Man, how much better would these games be if it had Hitman combat? Sneak up behind Pyramid Head and throw a knife in his back.
That's right.
Oh yeah, see, like, oh man, this camera, this thing is like hiding.
Only 40 seconds left on this public event. Where is everybody?
I don't know. I feel like I wonder if it's selling okay on PC, or it feels like sometimes those hubs are like kind of underpopulated to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did that thing just teleport me somewhere else? There's no way in hell I'm breaking.
Is it the big eye? That
Yeah.
says, oh yeah, sometimes. Yeah, the eye will sometimes teleport.
Does it really do that?
Yeah, it makes a sound. It has like a sound effect that kind of sounds like that.
What? Now there's the little one. What?
Yeah, you have to shoot the little ones to make the big one vulnerable.
Oh.
I've done that
Well-
event so many times that now my ghost makes sarcastic comments about how many times I've done that event. How do I bring up the map?
I apparently got a good review on my event used to killing that thing.
There's the, oh, there's the map. Okay.
Got some Evil Dead Zone tokens.
Options. I probably should have turned the subtitles on at the beginning. Oh well. Ugh, this camera. Turnstile, office. There we go. Let's go to the Lynch Street line. Let's see what's down here. Oh shit. Alright, well here's the creepy ghost that sounds like a vacuum cleaner.
Oh. I'm gonna hop over on the screen so I can see this.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the kind of weird gray floating guy?
Yeah. They just like follow you around and do like damage over time, but like farther into the game they follow you for longer, and they make that that like high pitched noise is super annoying.
Coming through super loud on the stream.
Is it?
It sounds kind of like a vacuum, like in another room, maybe. Or
Yeah, I turned the volume down, so I need to get away from these guys. Leave me alone. Oh, where is she? Vending machine. It says 1-8/ through the 8. Where is she? In here?
it's like a Swedish 8.
Yeah, see, so most of this game is spent combing through these tunnels,
Okay.
and those ghosts show up like all the time, and there's not really anything you can do to get rid of them.
That doesn't sound super awesome.
No, it's really annoying. Like I said, they're not really a threat, they're just annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now they're making a noise that's like... let's go. Let's see if we can meet up with Cynthia. And then I might call it a night. Also, I want to play some more Destiny 2.
Yeah, you should stop that and
Push the button. Alright.
vacuum cleaner ghosts. We saw what we had to see.
We saw the good part and the bad part of this game. There's one amazing... Oh, there she is. There's one amazing, like, room in this game where it's just a giant blinking doll head of the protagonist from the previous game.
Ooh.
And it's super... It's like... It comes out of nowhere and it's super creepy because the eyes follow you wherever you go. And... It's one of my favorite creepy rooms in any game ever. It's really good. But anyway, definitely playing this game has reminded me of the things that I liked and did not like about this. It's a real shame. There's some stuff about Silent Hill 4 that, like, this could have been really special, and it just kind of drops the ball, and is also sort of the beginning of the end.
I was gonna say the whole series seems to have been kind of like the second game, basically. Like decent start with a super strong follow up, and then nothing. Well, and then Shattered Memories.
Yep, 2 Shattered Memories. I mean, 3 is actually genuinely also pretty good. It's just it's locked and I can't open it. Toy box. It has 10008 written on. It's locked and I can't open it. Oh, these fucking ghosts. I think the implication is that they're the murder victims of that serial killer guy.
Okay.
But I really don't remember the story of this game all that well. What the hell? Also, I saved Cynthia, but she didn't say anything to me. We're just kind of running around together now. Anyway, that's from Silent Hill 4. It is a very interesting game with a really interesting premise that unfortunately totally fails to live up to the promise of its premise in pretty much every way imaginable. The combat is bad, the camera is bad, the story goes off the rails pretty poorly at the end, and
whoever made it should feel bad.
There's those fucking vacuum cleaner ghosts that just, like I said, I could not finish the game because I got so sick of listening to those vacuum cleaner ghosts.
You've been talking about those vacuum cleaner ghosts for as long as I've known you, Eric.
They've scarred me worse than anything in a horror game ever did, and it's not because they're scary, it's just because they're
not for the right reasons.
Super obnoxious. Anyway, that's some Silent Hill 4. This game had a ton of potential. Silent Hill Homecoming had a ton of potential as a game that was ostensibly about somebody with PTSD coming back from the second Gulf War, basically. I want to say, like the war in Iraq, and that game also totally drops the ball and it's just a super boring Silent Hill game. But the series should be one of the best series in video game, and it kind of still is, because Silent Hill 1 totally rewrote what survival horror could be, and Silent Hill 2 is one of the best games that I've ever played in terms of its story. But and Silent Hill Shadow Memories is really good too, but there's a lot of wasted potential throughout many of these games. Anyway, good night. We'll be back tomorrow with something else.
Yeah, we're almost through.
Almost. Only a couple days
month.
left. I might play some Sonic.
I'm very proud of you.
I don't know how to respond to that. Thanks, Mike. That means a lot.
Do it every day. You're going to have to stop calling it 31-ish.
It'll just be
Just
31.
plain old 31.
We just did it. We did the thing.
Well, hey, you haven't finished it yet.
Yeah, it's true. Got a couple days left. Anyway, I'm going to play some
But
Destiny.
you can do it, Eric. I believe in you.
I'm going to go play some Destiny, which does not have an
you
interesting
should do that.
premise or an interesting story or good writing, but it's super fun to run around and shoot and punch motherfuckers, so...
I think the premise is very interesting. I'm going to shoot these guys and take their guns.
All right, loot monsters, pinata monsters is a good premise for a video game. It's true.
History has shown.